telling us in the Discord was really interesting, like about like your history with Trump. Like at first, how you were saying you weren't like too sure about him, but you know you kind of converted to like a supporter of his. I was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
interested to
See,
hear that.
I mean, I was never against Trump. I was just never for him in the beginning.
Yeah,
He did that show, The Apprentice. He's had his little cameos in the spotlight here and there. I always took him for more. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, there's been entertainers as presidents, but I didn't take Trump serious. And at that time, I should have been paying more attention than I did, um, because Obama did a number on our country as well. And but the moment they started censoring that man and getting petty with that man, I mean, for instance, it's not like he tripped upstairs. One of the things that I started watching was his toupee blew off in the wind. But not only did his toupee blow off in the wind, but a service member's hat blew off. He went over and picked that service member's hat up and went over there and put that back on that man's head out of respect. So I sense that was probably one of my first moments of seeing a little bit of humility, you know, in a proud man, and that's a big thing for me. Um,
yeah, I remember
but
seeing that moment. That was definitely a moment where I realized maybe he's not as you know, egotistical. Like trying to think of the other one. He's not such an asshole as everyone says he is.
yes, and really, what seared me, what really pushed me there to where I'd die for that man. I would love. If they would take me, I'd be Secret Service for that man. I'd take a bullet for that man in
I
a
think you'd do
heartbeat.
better than that woman that was fumbling for her firearm during the Pennsylvania incident.
You don't know. I would break people.
I believe you. That woman should be fired. I don't know if you remember that circumstance, but I
Oh, I
saw
do. It was
how
shameful. It was shameful.
she couldn't, she didn't, like, it's like she had no firearm experience whatsoever. She couldn't even unholster her weapon. Like, that was, like, embarrassing. Like, how is she Secret Service? I saw some
I
of,
don't understand that. That's like when I was in the motorcycle club. He's dead now, so I'm going to talk about him. Okay, his name was Billy Bunn. Billy Bunn was like 70 plus years old when he passed away. He rode to the day he died, and let me tell you what, he was one of the most ruthless people I'd ever met. And that man right there, he could pull a knife out quicker than anybody I'd ever seen. Pull it out and put it back. And that woman couldn't do that with a gun? Blows my mind. 70-year-old man put her to shame. Um, but no, what really seared me to Trump was when the January 6th stuff occurred. They edited a lot of his speech. They blocked a lot of his tweets. They didn't. They only allowed the man to say what they wanted him to say, and
absolutely.
they manipulated that man's speech and what he said. For instance, the one I hate the most is he grabbed her by the pussy. Let me tell you what. Did you hear the entire speech of what he was talking about? And he was
Nah, I
right.
never heard it. I never heard it. But someone's asking
Well,
where Billy was from, by the way, in the comments.
uh, okay, I see down there. Your mic's going crazy. Is
Yeah,
my
I don't
mic
know
going
who.
crazy?
No, you sound good. Do I sound good to you?
Yep.
I don't know who it
But
is then.
but yeah, they manipulated his speech. But the grabbing your pussy speech right there, or whatever he said, was that they were talking about women today and like how floozy they are and whatnot. Well, he said literally today, and it was inappropriate. It was, but it wasn't what they're making it out to be. But he said literally, you can walk up to a woman, grab her by the pussy, and they're yours. And that's true. That's true. At one point in time, I used to be that person. Doesn't make it right. But don't get me wrong. They weren't saying no, and they liked what was going on. That was all he was saying. But he was right. You know,
Yeah.
the world today is a borderline Sodom and Gomorrah. He did not say anything about grabbing anybody in particular by the pussy, but now you get on chat lines, be like, "Oh, he grabbed her by the pussy, motherfucker. Let's go out somewhere. I'll grab you by yours."
Yeah, someone said Trump will take your freedom of speech away. Criticized
Now
Israel and
that's a
see.
bunch of bullshit. Take my freedom of speech. Let me tell you what. The only freedom, the world's gotten so soft today. When I grew up in the '80s for the most part. I was born in '76, and you used to have to soapbox. You used to have to just tell people, and I still do it. People think freedom of speech is just on this platform or whatever. You don't really have freedom of speech on YouTube. YouTube censors everything.
Yeah, they censored me for talking about the damn jabs, and they said I was giving health misinformation, and they've constantly tried to censor me time after time. Like it's
Let me
crazy.
tell you what, you do not have free speech if you have censorship. You know, I'm not saying to believe everything everybody says. Heck, growing up, that's what my parents told me. You don't believe everything you see on TV, do you? They made me go and
No.
research stuff. And it's like I said yesterday, I'd never censor a Democrat for anything they got to say. Because if I muffle what they're saying, the world's not going to know how stupid they are.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. That's why I like letting them speak. I don't speak over them. I let them run their mouth and say all the nonsense they want to say, like open borders, let all these people in, all this communist bullshit. I
Y'all,
mean, what communists down to all these old commie countries all failed and the system fell. So obviously that doesn't
yeah,
work.
yeah, you can't point to one communist system. That one feller, Than or whatever, he keeps pointing to Chile, you know, and that the U.S. got involved and destroyed their But if it was really a success story, it wouldn't have fell to any coup by anybody, in my opinion. Um, but I mean, I'm not a Bush fan. At one time, I was a Bush fan. When Bush was in office, I was a Bush fan. But now that it's come to light that there were no weapons of mass destruction, it looks to me more like it was uh, a vengeance for his dad. He was ticked off about everything that happened between Iraq and that. Did they have a assassination attempt, or was it a threat against Bush Senior? I
I
think
don't
it was
know.
a
I'm not
threat.
100% sure.
I think it was a threat, but I feel like now he went after him, you know, out of hate. And I listened to a veteran story out of revenge. I listened to a veteran story the other day because he was in Iraq and he busted down the door and actually shot a guy because he went after his gun, and he's got a little bit of what I feel like is survivor's guilt because he didn't, and he asked himself some really serious questions. Is what if somebody busted down my door in the middle of the night? What would I have done? And I would have went after my gun as well. And he asked himself the questions of like, what if I'd met this guy in Paris or something? Would we have been friends? Would we have gotten along with him? He was fighting a battle for another politician. Is what it amounted to. It wasn't a just fight being in Iraq, you
Yeah,
know.
I completely understand that. Someone said
And
Vietnam under Kennedy. Well, we kind of see what happened there a little bit too.
yeah, I do. And that right there, the Vietnam vets gets probably most of my love. That's most of what I know as well. Because you know they came back. People called them baby killers and everything else. But you know what? Nobody looked down the Vietnamese. They were the ones with grenades in their hands, and that's the shame. That's where it starts at. That's the same thing going on in the Middle East. You know, over here we're worried about kids' feelings and making sure they got a safe space, and over in the Middle East they training them to shoot an AK-47 by like age 9.
Yeah, no kidding.
Big difference. But the world's gotten so soft today, they can't handle what anybody else has to think. And where a lot of people, I think, get it mixed up is freedom of speech is also kind of like, to me, the Constitution is a lot of double talk. For instance, your freedom of speech, saying what you got to say, doesn't mean I have to listen to it. I can walk away if I choose to, but I'm not going to censor nobody. Um, I got banned off of one guy's channel because I was speaking my piece. He was claiming to be Antifa. You can
Oh,
look his
freaking
channel up sometime
horrible.
if you. Yeah, you can look up his channel sometime if you want. It was Volition Racks. Now it's Third Street Nation. But I was trolling him for months. I'll admit it. I was trolling this guy. The moment I saw him do a video of burning the American flag,
It's all
I
in at that
trolled him.
point.
It's all in. And I'm sorry. I do not believe that burning the American flag is protected under, even though it is. I don't believe it is. It bothers me because anybody that burns that American flag doesn't know the story behind it. And when you hear the story, you need to look that story up. That's a good, and you'll cry. You know the story about the British bombardment uh, with I think Francis Scott Key was actually on one of the enemy ships negotiating the release of prisoners, and you had the entire British Navy in I think the Boston Bay. You know that story?
Not exactly, but I know a little bit about the story of the creation of the American flag, like the design. I think it was designed by a woman, if I'm not mistaken. I kind of remember a little bit
Yeah,
of that in U.S. history.
yeah, Betsy Ross, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Yep.
But when when uh, when the British was in the bay, they were trying to get us to surrender. We didn't have the cannons or the firepower that they did. I think it was over 40 ships they had, and at the time that was a big navy. And their admiral made a wager with, I guess, our colonel, captain, or whatever at the time, that he said, "I'm going to focus on that flag. If by morning time that flag is on the ground, you all have to surrender. But if that flag is still standing, we'll turn around and go back to Britain." Well, they fired upon that flag all night long. And at one point, that flag mast got damaged and it was going to fall. So what happens? American patriots rush in to grab that flagpole, and they held that flagpole, and the supermen make a direct hit. More men would rush in to hold that flag up. And come morning time, you know what held that flag up? Pile of dead American patriot bodies.
Well, that's crazy. That's a really crazy story. I don't think they ever taught that in American history to me, but they
Need to
teach
look
a lot
that
of
one
stuff.
up.
Yeah,
It's
I'm gonna
touching.
look that one up. Yeah, that's very touching, honestly. And a lot of these
So I
people have
don't,
no clue about the history of America, much less the flag, and they want to burn it.
yeah. And if that's when I get upset. I don't agree with everything that goes on. There is hardly anything. I can't even I say hardly there's anything I agree with what went on under Biden's administration. Um, because I mean, you could probably say I agree with he lowered the cost of diabetes drugs, but the thing is, Trump done did that before he got out of office, and Biden changed it, and then went back to it to say he did it. So, but I don't agree with anything they did, but I still love my country. I still fly that American flag, and I'll be damned if I'm going to stand by and watch somebody toting a pride flag burn my American flag.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I said before, the difference is the conservatives were just as mad about Biden, but we weren't crying our eyes out protesting in the street because we know that's not going to do anything. Like, that's not going to
Yeah,
change the situation. Like, people now, they're crying, they're doing these stupid protests. Like, when has a peaceful protest done anything? People were protesting
Yeah.
about Vietnam. That didn't stop the war. Like, there's no point of like crying your eyes out. You're just wasting your own time. Try to improve your life, or get a job or something. But don't be like
Yeah.
crying about it. Like, calm
Well, we
down.
laughed about it the other day. We had a bunch of liberals protesting in front of the Walmart. Not a one of them had a protest sign that made sense. It was all just feeling bullshit, like dumpster fire Donnie, take rights away from MAGA, just ridiculous stuff. No one had an actual legit point to make, but they made a really good point. Okay, they made a really good point that not a one of them had a job. People like me keeping this nation up. And I was actually going to go down there and protest their protest. Me and a bunch of other truck drivers was.
Hell yeah.
And it got to be 3:30, quitting time. They all packed up and left. I guess it was quitting time for them too. Ain't got no job, but they gonna quit.
They're good at something. They're good at quitting, that's for sure.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. And yeah, it just blows my mind. But today, today people can't handle free speech. They get their feelings hurt. I mean, I don't know. People need to toughen up. I mean,
Yeah.
I can handle what anybody got to say. I mean, say it.
Yeah, I know
I,
all these people and these liberals and Democrats, commies, whatever the hell you want to call them. I know that they're soft with their insults because I can see they're trying hard as possible to insult me, but they've obviously never been insulted properly themselves, so they don't know how to shit talk
yeah,
you. Like, you can see how soft they are by them trying to insult you. It's hilarious. Like, the best thing
yeah.
they can do is call me ugly and talk about my hair or talk about my
Talk
looks or
about my
whatever. Like,
beard. Talk about my bald head. Yeah, it don't bother me. Yeah, they got to dig deeper than that.
yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
don't. They'd have to talk about my mom or something, and then it's fighting words.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then uh, shit, I had a brain fart. That's when you're thinking about something and it kind of goes blank. Uh, I do have to say, I like your live stream. I like what you're doing. It
Thank you,
gives me a
man.
lot of hope. It gives me a lot of hope for the future because too many people just give into the hype and don't check anything out. And then it blows my mind the types of resources these people use. Just like the other day when I fact checked feller with the BBC.
Yeah, that was hilarious. The BBC
Yeah,
fact checked Reuters. That was
yeah,
hilarious. That was crazy.
yeah. And the moral to me of that story was that they thought they were getting unbiased news from the BBC and out of the BBC's mouth. To me, you're compromised when you're accepting any kind of funds from one party. And I'm sorry, but I consider USAID a Democrat entity. And I'll tell you
Absolutely.
why. If Democrats was upset about it being shut down, whining and crying, I would say, yeah, it was both of them. But the only people been upset about that has been the Democrats. And they're going to talk about, oh, they're shutting down Social Security. They're shutting down Medicare, Medicaid. You know
Bullshit.
what? My mom gets a Social Security check and she gets I forget which one it is, but it's a retired health insurance and it has not been interrupted. And I'm sorry, there probably is someone out there that there probably is like 1 in a million people that their service got interrupted. I hate that for you. I'm sure it'll be fixed and worked out, but you can't justify that one person by having thousands of people that aren't alive, that's 150 plus years old, accepting benefits.
Yeah, all these scammers and stuff like that. I've had people jump in here before and they claim themselves that their grandpa or their grandma's Medicare and Social Security disappeared. Honestly, I don't even believe anyone's been erupted yet because you got to think if they
I
were
don't believe it.
interrupted, CNN would give this guy money to come on the news channel and cry about it. So if it was the
Yeah,
case, they would spread it all over the news like crazy. And Elon Musk, Donald Trump, neither of them ever said they want to cut the benefits for people that are deserving it, the elderly, the retired, anyone that deserves it. Like they never said once they
Hey,
want to cut it. They
blue,
just want
but
to cut the fraud.
two cons trying to hurt our feelings. Retard versus Santa. Yeah. Yeah, there's not a whole lot somebody with the name of Batu can say to hurt my feelings. I mean, daggone, I hope that's not a mama given name because she didn't love you, boy.
I don't know why he has his picture as Trump. I see he has a profile picture as Trump. It's his mugshot. Maybe that means he doesn't like him. I thought that was supposed to be a Patriots picture. I don't know.
You know, speaking of that, did you know that Benjamin Franklin, a lot of patriots, was jailed at one point in time for their political beliefs?
I think I heard about that before. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't bother me that Trump got jailed. It's bullshit that he got jailed. What's bullshit is we ain't jailed Hillary yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Trump's a little bit too lenient on them. But they're asking who you are. You want to shout out your channel? I really liked your Trump edit you made, by the way. I was impressed with that. I like that little
Oh,
video.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's Tom Pepin TV.
Yep, everyone go
TOM.
subscribe to him.
Yeah, it's peeping Tom backwards. Everybody thinks you're spying on them with the drone, and I didn't want to use my real name on the title of the video. I don't care to give my real name out. It's Eric, but I'm not going to put it on the title of my channel.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I didn't really. My real name's in my Discord. My real name's Graham, but I don't really feel like putting it on my channel. People always say weird shit to me. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna look you up." I'm like, "Go ahead. I got nothing to hide." But we got 161 people in here. Hit the like and subscribe button and go over
Yeah,
to his
that's what I
channel.
get. I get a kick out of that too, you know, because then they don't know. They really don't know who they talking to. Because for me, I'm a truck driver. It's not, most of my work's local, but some of it ain't. It's nothing for me to. I got up. I got to go pick up some equipment up in Portland, and let me tell you, it was. I got to see it.
Liberal
So I mean,
City.
I do. So I do get out of my little pond. So you know, I have yet for anybody who wants to sit down and actually drink some coffee. But I used to have a running saying, and it's actually true. I mean, I've got $100 bill in my wallet for anybody that thinks they can take it.
They're asking where you're from, by the way.
East Tennessee.
East Tennessee. I love Tennessee,
Yep.
man. Like I told you, I visited Pigeon Forge before in Nashville and
Yep.
stuff like that. Great state.
Yep. That's where I'm at. You can car behind me here. Dolly Parton country, but you can see the lights over there in the distance. I'm sitting in Walmart parking lot right now. But yeah, Dolly Parton country. And for the most part, it's Trump supporters in this area, but honestly, the conservatives aren't really conservative here. They support Trump. As far as in the county, they do a lot of Democrat things. They don't vote on a lot of things. They just put it into place. And to me, that's Democrat.
We got someone from Knoxville in here. Shout out Knoxville. And we got Switzerland in here too. Shout out Switzerland. And someone said beautiful state.
Let's see.
We
Yeah,
got
it is.
260 people in here. Hit the like
I
and
was
subscribe
actually
button.
I was actually born in eastern Kentucky, but I've always lived along the Appalachians. I was allergic to coal dust, so I was sick every few months. I had to take an allergy shot twice a week growing up. Come down to East Tennessee and I grow out of them. But yeah, mom and dad, they got us out of there as kids. They didn't want us growing up either A, working in the coal mines, or B, they saw it coming. It was going to be just a dead business. And it's really sad. You go up there and there's no jobs there, and you've got a lot of people who did work in the mines that actually sell drugs. And I don't look bad on them for it. I actually respect them for it because they have to choose of whether to take their pain meds or to feed their family. And when you're down to having to feed your family, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
I'll
I
do what
agree with
I'll
you.
and yeah, I'm not mistaken. Obama killed coal.
Yeah, Trump's trying to bring it back. I'm sure you saw the whole thing. So these idiots are saying all this stuff about Trump's new golf course, $200 million to build his new golf course, yada yada yada.
So it
I
don't
think
bother me. It's none of my business.
I
Why
think
is
they're
it my?
saying it's coming out of. I think they're thinking it's coming out of taxpayer money or something.
There's an idiot born every minute of the day. I mean, yeah, I don't believe that for one moment. Here's what kills me. I don't see why Democrats are so upset at Trump. I mean, or even his administration. Just about every one of them in Trump's administration right now is a former Democrat, except for I think J.D. Vance. You got uh, Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat. RFK Jr., former Democrat. Trump, former Democrat. I don't see why Elon Musk, former Democrat.
He voted for Joe Biden. Now they're trying to burn down his cars. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, jokes on them, really. I mean, it just shows how people they are. I mean, you go here, the man goes and sends a rocket into outer space and brings home a couple of astronauts. He should be considered a hero.
And Biden
And
didn't bring him
instead,
back.
yeah, Musk did.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
and while he's doing that, they burn his cars.
Yeah, it's
You know?
crazy. It just shows you if you change your opinion just on a party, just you switch from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party one single time, they just instantly hate you. They forget all the good stuff you did. They forget that Biden had those astronauts up there for like a year. He did nothing about it. He didn't get them back
Yeah,
down. Elon asked Biden. He said, "Come on, Biden, let's work together.
I
Me
remember
and
that.
SpaceX." And he just like ignored the dude. Like he
Yeah,
didn't want to work with Elon.
and the thing is, regardless of his political beliefs, the moment that man landed a rocket back down on his launch pad, I was a fan. That guy to me is a modern day Tony Stark. If
Yeah,
Iron Man was a
seriously.
real person, it would be Elon Musk.
Yeah, I know people. I know these crazy Democrats. I have some of them in my family. They hate Trump. They hate Elon, but they really can't shit on him when it comes to that rocket. I show it to them, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, this guy is like kind of a genius." But they don't ask him what they think about Doge. They think his SpaceX business is genius, but if you ask him about Doge, no, he's a moron. He's an idiot. He's ruining all the
Yeah.
money for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think he's a patriot. That's another man I'd put my life on the line for and feel good about it every day waking up is Elon. Because he did something for this country. He did something monumental. And I think that Doge is going to snowball into something bigger.
Yeah, I hope so. But the thing is, they try to act like both him and Trump are getting richer after a political term. Elon lost half
They
of his
losing
net worth,
money. Yeah, they're
half of his
losing
stock
money.
dropped.
That's what pisses them off. They don't care about the money. And then they talk about the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. You know that there's more rich Democrats than they are rich Republicans.
Yeah, I know that.
And if Trump's tax cuts are so bad, then explain to me why Joe Biden used them. Why didn't he put them to a stop during his administration?
That's
He
a good
didn't.
point. He did not change them at all. And I also brought up the new tax policy that Trump made, the 2025 one. The Harris supporter, he's kind of a really crazy left wing guy. I told him I read it to him, the whole entire tax plan. His initial claim was that it did not help the middle class or the lower class at all. He actually told me that it raised the taxes for the middle and lower class. I had to pull it up. I gave him the source. He agreed that it
Mm-hmm.
was legitimate. I read it off to him, and people that are making around like $50,000 a year are going to be saving $3,000 in taxes every year. People that make 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, they're also going to be saving thousands or more off their tax
Yeah.
returns every year. I mean, the point he was making was that, oh, the rich, they're saving the most money. Well, I mean, they make a lot more money, to be fair. I mean, of course there were cuts for the people that are making like under 20,000 a year was only like $500, $600, something like that. But they're not really paying in that much taxes in to begin with, if we're just being honest here. But everyone still got a cut. Everyone still got a cut either way. His claim was that the poor and the middle class were getting their taxes increased, which was just malarkey,
Yeah.
not true at all.
Now here's what I don't agree with. Okay, then here's what they might have been referring to is that people that don't even pay in ain't getting as much back. The tax system was never set up to give people money.
Yeah.
And traditionally charity in this country and in the rest of the world has not been handled by government, but handled by churches.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me. But what I'd like to see is the tariffs taken over. People whining, oh, we're going to lose all our business, or we're going to end up, our goods are going to be skyrocketing and crazy prices because of tariffs. Okay, they could be. They could be. I'm not going to say they ain't. But the thing is, you can't tell me that tariffs don't work, because if they don't work, then why does 90% of other countries tariff our products if they don't
Yeah,
work?
they tariffed us first. Also, someone
Yeah.
said I'm not open to debate. I'll debate anybody they want, anyone that wants to. Just join the Discord, or if you don't got Discord, message me on Twitter, on X. We can set it up.
Yeah, I wish I could debate you, but I agree with 99% of what you say.
Exactly.
But actually, I can't think of anything I don't agree with. But yeah, these tariffs, people need to grow a backbone. I mean, my dad used to say, if you ain't making money, and this is when I had a floor covering business, it's family business, that if you ain't making money, why are you doing business with them? You shouldn't be doing business with them in the first place. Here we give them foreign aid. Then we subsidize their economy. Then we protect them and send them stuff to protect themselves with. And then they tariff our goods.
Yeah, that's
That
nuts. So, what
yeah,
kind of business deal is that?
that's not a good business deal. So and a lot of the media doesn't cover a lot of the wins we're getting, but we're getting companies coming back to the States. Even Jeff Bezos with Amazon broke. He's bringing a lot of stuff back to the States so that America is a consumer nation. There's nobody that buys more goods than America. If I'm
Yeah, I
wrong,
agree.
tell me. And these other countries need America more than America needs them.
Yeah, all these
And that's
people
just
are
fact.
complaining, crying that we need China, blah, blah, blah. We don't need China. We don't need our American citizens buying something off Temu every 5 seconds. They're burning, wasting their money, first off. Second off, this is cheap shit that just falls apart in 2 seconds anyway.
Yes.
And also,
Rock Landstone said tariffs are a tool. You're right, they are a tool. After all this dust settles and stuff, though, I'd like to see the government use at least a 5, maybe 10, something that ain't going to kill the other countries, but something that's going to pay our taxes and fund our government. And, you know, that's really the way it should be. At one point in time, that was how the government made its tax money. And the government funds a lot of stuff that we don't even need or use. And those programs need to just be shut down. Something else I think ought to be shut down is how they do their bills. You know, it's like they'll have like a healthcare bill or something for the veterans. They can't ever just vote on that bill. They have to group other bills in with it. To me, when you do that, you're holding, say, if you're voting on veterans health care and you've got other stuff in there, you're holding health care hostage. That ain't right. It should be bill for bill. And I think the reason that they probably started doing that is because you'd have people like across the aisle say, okay, I'm going to vote on your bill, but you're going to vote on my bill. No, that needs to be cut out.
and they need to vote on bill for bill for bill. If you don't agree with it, you don't vote. You do not vote on a bill because they're not voting on your bill. You vote or not vote on that bill because you agree or disagree with it. And
Someone said 100%.
I appreciate that, because this is just the ramblings of an old redneck right here.
But another thing I wanted to touch on, since we've been talking about veterans so much and I get attacked for this thing 24/7, is, I mean, some idiot tried to tell me, they said, oh, 80,000 VA workers got fired. First off, all the federal workers in the entire country that got fired, all the useless ones were about, I think, 60,000 total. All the ones that Elon and Trump fired were 60,000. But there were, I think, 1,500 VA workers fired. Now, a lot of people do complain about the VA. It probably wasn't the most efficient. The people that were fired weren't long-term workers either. These were people that were working there for under 2 years, under a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Well,
don't really know what to say to that, but
you can't tell me that there's not useless people working for the VA either.
yeah.
I think every company out there, anywhere, I don't know what kind of job experience you've got, but I'm sure you've had experience with that one guy that you worked with that didn't do jack shit that somehow held on to his job.
Oh,
There's that
yeah,
one.
for sure. I almost
Yep.
feel like it was kind of because of DEI. I mean, not because the person was black, but because the person had like a disability or whatever. It was a bigger woman. She was like 600 pounds. She was always crying about how she had a disability and that
Yeah.
she had to do these weight loss surgeries. And she had a letter from her doctor. She was always leaning over the counter, like what you're not supposed to do at this retail job I worked at. She was always leaning on the counter, but like I couldn't do it, but whenever she did it, she would just cry and say, "I got a doctor's note," and they were like, "All right," but she didn't do jack. Like I don't know if that's an example of DEI or what, but
I don't agree with DEI. I can't stand DEI. I think that is idiocracy.
it's
That's
racist
to me
and it's
be idiocracy.
prejudice.
Yes.
It's putting
It's,
black, brown communities before anybody else.
I mean, anybody that believes in DEI should let me be their brain surgeon. That's how I feel about it. I mean, how many bearded rednecks do you see doing brain surgery? I mean, none.
In
But I don't
Florida, you
call it
might be surprised.
but I don't call them DEI hires. I call them DIE hires. It's die hires. They're gonna cost somebody their life somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't see it. They should have thought that one through a little bit better. But old Martin Luther King, he's got to be rolling over in his grave right now, because people say, "Oh, this is what Martin." No, Martin Luther King had a very famous speech. He wanted his children to be judged on the content of their character, not the color of their skin.
And that's the opposite of DEI, literally.
Yes. So people who say that don't know who Martin Luther King was. People who compare Elon or Trump to a Nazi, they don't know what a Nazi ever was. It really, if I was Jewish, it would piss me off, because
They're not fighting against the real fascists and the real Nazis. They're just calling all the damn Trump supporters fascists and Nazis.
Fascist is, to me, when they say fascist, that's nothing more than a big buzzword. It's a big fancy buzzword. You're a fascist. You know what? They don't know what fascism is. Let me tell you what. Fascism is controlling speech. Fascism is burning Tesla cars because you didn't buy the right car.
They're
They
putting
don't know.
Nazi symbols on Jewish people's Teslas.
I swear to goodness, if I come out and I saw somebody painting a swastika on the side of my car, it would be like Inglorious Bastards. They'd be walking away with a permanent swazi. They sure would. But yeah, the world ain't what it used to be. I mean, my granddad, he was so stubborn. He was bringing a sack of lard home, to cook with, and somebody wasn't voting his way or something or whatever. They got into a fight, cut his own nose off to spite his own face, slapped the man across the face with a bag of lard. Oh, goodness. But
Someone commented, libs think they can be cats. Yeah, that's a mental illness right there.
man, that blows my mind. You know, they think they can just, yeah, they think they can identify as whatever and also make their facts up. I mean, it's nuts. You can't just identify as whatever. You can do whatever you want in your house. You can do whatever else in your personal time, but I'm not going to take part in your mental illness.
Happy Kentucky Derby Day. The commenters are saying.
Is it Kentucky Derby Day?
I think so. There's been 2 comments about it already.
Huh. Hockey. That's racism. How's hockey racism? Or is he saying honky? Did he meant to say honky?
I think he meant to say honky.
That don't bother me. If somebody out there call me honky, I don't care. You
Tell me
try
something MLK believed aside from the content of character quote. That's what someone said. Yes, he said a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm not a Martin Luther King specialist, but I do know that. Okay, he believed in the Lord.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, he believed we was all God's children. I know that.
Yep.
You are. The guy in the right. The guy in the right, Mo Lester. The guy on the left, huh?
Don't read that. Wrong. We're not going to put up for those inappropriate comments, buddy.
No, I know what he's trying to say. That's that I'm so fucking retarded joke.
Honestly, that was funny when you read it out loud. I can't even lie. But I'm definitely not that. Never in my life. If I ever caught anyone doing that, they're going to be 6 feet under in a graveyard somewhere.
Absolutely. I like to watch JD DeLay's channel. He's an ex-convict. And he
Oh, yeah, I watch him too.
Yeah, if he had his way, the wood chipper, he'd just throw people in the wood chipper. You know what? They need to let that he would be in my cabinet. I'd have him in my cabinet if I was president. He would be in charge of children welfare.
100%. That man would go crazy on them. We need somebody like him in children welfare. Like someone like him in charge of
they know who JD is. There's people in there. I love JD. Yeah, JD's I like JD. I don't necessarily agree with.
The government comes and takes away people's kids sometimes for no reasons. I'm not saying it's all the time no reasons.
You know, nobody protects a. I'm gonna be careful here because it's YouTube. A child offender, a baby sniper, like a Democrat.
Yeah.
Have you heard that story about all them kids getting gone under the Biden administration, and now it's like 300,000 kids or something, and they're trying to find them now?
Yeah, that's really sad.
That should have never happened to begin with. And while we're talking about all this different stuff, I want to get this out in there for everybody to hear too. I get a kick out of people saying Biden deported more people than Trump. That holds no water to me when you've got a wide open border and you're letting millions of people through and you're going to deport 57% of or 57,000 of them. That's a drop in the water. Right now, Trump's cleaning up Biden's mess. People just ain't walking across the border now like they was before.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Not to mention, we're only 4 months into Trump's term. Someone said Skeeter Hansen is funny. Skeeter Hansen is kind of like the YouTube version of Chris Hansen. He's like this light-skinned black guy. He's pretty funny. I don't know if you've seen him.
No, I've not. I'll look that up, though.
Yeah, he exposes pedos. Pedophiles. I'll put it like that. But We got 300,000 children gone, 300,000 missing. We got 2 comments on that. And someone spamming lies, lies, lies. Yeah, they
You
ain't
know
no
what?
lies
If
there.
they were lies, prove them wrong. Don't just spam lies. Prove them wrong.
Yeah, they never prove them wrong. They just call you a liar. They just say misinformation. They never actually
When they do
explain
that,
any of it.
when they do that, this is what I picture them doing. La 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 la. They put their fingers in their ears and shit. Lies, lies.
You know they're doing that. You know they're doing that. They're the same people that will scream at you if you're wearing a Trump hat in the rally or in in public anywhere. If I wear this hat, they're gonna rip it off me and try to harm me. And it's not
I'm
gonna end
getting
well
me
for
one of them hats today.
Yeah.
I'm getting me one of them hats today. Mark my words. We got a Trump store here. We got
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, we got 2 or 3 of them. I have no excuse to not have a Trump hat. I'm getting me a Trump hat today.
Definitely.
And I dare anybody say anything about it because I'll tell them how I feel.
Someone commented Democrats are evil and brainwashed. I agree. Not everyone's evil that's a Democrat, but, a lot of them, if you're protecting criminals and child pedos and people that did stuff to kids and protecting these criminals, then you probably are pretty evil.
And it seems like the further north you go, this is a fact for you. I bet you didn't know. Did you ever watch the Jerry Springer show?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Okay. I forget. It was originally in New Jersey, but they moved it from New Jersey, I think, up to Connecticut or something. But it was way up in the north there, like the New England states. Do you know why they did that? Because of pedophile laws. They will protect pedophiles more than anybody else. They could get on those shows where a lot of times they were incriminating themselves, and they wouldn't have to worry about getting yanked off stage and hauled off to a jail somewhere.
Damn. That's terrible.
So that's why they moved that show.
Yeah, I've seen stuff in Biden and Hunter Biden's laptop case where it kind of makes me think that some of the girls he was dealing with were probably not 18 or older, and also Biden with his kid sniffing thing. Like, even if he didn't do nothing to these kids, that's just straight up weird. Like, why are you putting your
That's
nose
what I
in
was
little
fixing to
kids?
say. That I have issue with that. Is I'm 48-year-old now. I have issue. I'm happily married, by the way. But if I wasn't, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go target a 20-year-old or some young thing as to be my girlfriend or future wife. That's just, to me, that's creepy. That's creepy, and that's weird. But you get a lot of that. It's just like there was a few other truck drivers. We was up on UT campus working. And every time these girls, and I get it, okay? Beautiful girls. I can say, hey, that's a beautiful girl. But it gets creepy when you start saying, look at that one. Look at that over there. Look, you're old enough to be her daddy.
Yeah.
If I'm old enough to be your daddy, it's a no. It'll always be a no. I'm actually very fortunate that me and my wife, we're just a few months apart. There's nobody else for me. And that's one of the reasons I got into paying attention to these politics is, well, I didn't think much of it. My dollar stretched a lot more under Trump. And these last 4 years have been hell because most of my bills is medical bills. And every time I see someone saying, oh, we need to help the people in Africa, or we need to help these people with HIV over here, or what, you know what? I don't see anybody helping my wife, and we're going through a cancer scare right now. And anytime this shit goes on, they're interfering with me taking care of my wife.
Yeah.
And
Prayers out to your wife once again, by the way.
thank you.
Praying
Thank
for
you.
her.
Right now, it's a cancer scare, but she's had it before. So we're really hoping it's just a scare. 'Cause, the healthcare all around's messed up. Healthcare shouldn't be as expensive as it is. And then what ticks me off is the inefficiency. It takes weeks, if not months, to get in to see the correct doctor for one, and then they send off for tests, and you're coming back in another 6 weeks. Well, it's 3 or 4 months before anything active or positive is being done about anything, and I can't help but feel that if they were taking care of their own loved ones, all this stuff would be expedited and quicker. And that's my issue.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's not just that. Well, 100% that I agree with, but a lot of, bad business deals and stuff like that have been done years over years. Like, you look at European countries and Asian countries and all these other countries. I mean, a lot of them are paying a lot cheaper for their drugs. I mean, some people say all this ridiculous stuff. It's socialism, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it breaks down to the business deal itself that they're doing, that they're just not willing to pay so much for it.
Yeah. Well, if I'm not mistaken, you know that we sent a lot of our pharmaceutical companies to Ireland, didn't you?
Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah. And they should have never left the States. But yeah, a lot of this stuff shouldn't cost nowhere near what it does. And then, but to me, it boils down to that there's no money in healthy people, but there's money in treatment. I really don't feel like they want to help my wife or other people. I feel like they want some kind of ongoing treatment to where they can make money. And
Yeah, I agree. People are spamming the comments saying that, oh, Trump isn't going to help you, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you got to
I don't,
think Biden lied about, I said this yesterday on the live stream with the guy. He was talking about Trump's lies. I said Biden lied about capping the healthcare costs for the elderly people at $2,000 a month. Or
yeah.
2,000 a year, I mean, 2,000 a year. Or something like that. He lied about his healthcare promise. So,
Well, I don't need Trump to help me with my issues. I just need everybody else to get out of the way.
yeah.
Um, I don't need my money going across the border anywhere to anybody else when I'm trying to take care of mine and me here. That's what I need. Because, well, shoot, back in the day, well, it just not even that long ago, my dollar went so much farther, and it's getting better. It really is. But no, you can't take you can't take the mess that Biden has done and clean it up overnight. I get a kick out of it. Oh, the price of eggs are still expensive. The price of eggs are still expensive.
The prices have dropped.
The prices have dropped, but I can't help but feel there's a little bit of gouging going in there too. I mean, no. At the end of the day, no president can control what you charge for a good or a service. And most of the time, when prices go up, they just don't magically come back down. They're going to come back down slowly, and that business is going to reap the benefits of that. They're going to milk it for all it's worth on the way back down, if it ever comes back down. Biden was better. Yeah, that's funny. Rock, Landstone.
Yeah. Someone said Jerry Springer was filmed in Chicago because that's where the protection was. And
It
he
might
also
be.
said, yeah, he also says it's your wife. He hopes your wife is okay.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Why is the Supreme Court going against what the people voted for? Yeah, I don't
I mean, they
think
sided with
necessarily
Trump
that
sometimes.
they do. They do, but the problem is that that Supreme Court right now, I don't know what the actual number is, but I think between left and right, it's about 50-50 right now. And that Ketanji Brown Jackson should have never even got in there. She couldn't even tell you what a woman is.
Yeah.
It's
No
people
kidding.
like that. You have to bring in an expert for everything. I'm sorry, but 1,000 years down the road, or let's say 1,000,000 years down the road, when we're all gone, and they dig your bones up, they're gonna look at your pelvis
or they can look at your pelvis and tell whether you're a man or a woman. Then they can also run your DNA, see whether you got XX or XY chromosomes. You can't
Yeah, they're
change
not
that.
gonna. Yeah, they're not
No
gonna
matter how
identify you
hard
as a
you,
dog, no matter how much you wish for it.
yeah, no matter how much you identify as something, you can't change nature. It is what it is. We need Medicare for all. I just need affordable health insurance. The Obama killed that for me. Obama's the only president in history that took health care or that fines citizens for not having health care and then gives it to illegals and foreigners. That makes no
Yeah,
sense.
the whole Obamacare thing was bullshit. The only people that benefit are the people that don't work. If you don't work, even if you barely make any money, you're still not going to benefit from it because
Yeah,
you're working. If you don't work, you get all the free shit you want.
don't believe anything he says now. He lied on Connecticut. Who lied on Connecticut?
I think they're talking about the Jerry Springer thing, but I have no idea. I guess he's pissed off
Yeah, and
about
you know what? A mistake isn't a lie.
it. Yeah.
You know,
Lots of politicians make mistakes too. We can't forget
a
that.
lie. I have to know the difference for it to be a lie, and I can be wrong, and I can admit I'm wrong. It probably was Chicago that Jerry Springer was filmed in, but I know that wherever it was, the point of that. See, they missed the whole point. The point of
Yeah.
it was that they moved, and where they moved to protected pedos.
Yeah, these guys are crazy. They're ignoring the entire story of the thing and talking about what state it was in.
Yes.
It's about that. They're talking about them protecting pedos. Obama 2028, that's never going to happen. Obama tried to push Harris and he failed at pushing Harris. No one gave a damn that he was trying to say either vote for Harris or the world is going to end, yada, yada. No
Bigger
one
check.
gave a shit.
You got to think. Hey, well, who was that said that? Grizztronics, you have a better chance of being able to vote for Big Mike.
No.
So you might
Big
want to
Mike
put Big Mike.
2028.
Yeah, you might want to put Big Mike 2028. I mean, even out of Big Mike's own mouth, they admitted the other day that they were make whatever it was they was talking about, but made him proud as a black man. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. I showed that clip like literally like 50 times. And someone said Ivanka Trump 2028. Now, if we're going to get a woman president, I'm not really, I kind of like, men running as president. I'm not a sexist or anything. You can call me what you want. But if we are going to get a woman president, I hope it's a good conservative woman like Ivanka Trump.
I agree with you. My only issue with a woman as president isn't necessarily us as much as when they are in a meeting room with these other countries, because it's not us that's behind the times, it's these other countries,
And they don't
and
respect women.
they don't respect women.
Yep, especially Islamic countries. That's my whole
Yes.
point about it. Islamic countries, if Harris would be president, they're never going to speak to her. They would either speak with Tim
Oh
Walz
God.
or they would just laugh and say, your country has a woman president. We're not going to listen to you anymore. It's over.
It
And it's
boggles my
nothing
mind
about
how
sexism.
anybody. It boggles my mind how anybody could vote for Kamala. I mean, I have never in my life seen anyone give the speeches like she gives. And then just the cackle laugh. That just, it made me, it actually, it was funny, but it also made me feel embarrassed as an American that that's who we had representing us.
She didn't get any primary votes. She was installed. Like, how can you even say that Trump is against
She
democracy?
ran. They claim she ran in a primary, but yet I have anybody to yet tell me who did she run against in that primary? Because you can't tell me RFK Jr. You can't tell me any because they quit before that primary, if I'm not mistaken. That was they dropped out before any of this went on. Biden was still running at that point. They forget Biden originally was running, even on running as an incumbent.
Christina said Kamala destroyed the felon in the debate. That was crazy. Not a chance. I've never met one single person, not even a Harris supporter, that said he destroyed him. Like, that's just crazy to
No,
say.
those, you know what? You had a one, I forget where it was. It might have been CNN, but wherever it was, they had their debate or whatever. They did not fact check Kamala. They fact checked Trump. They
Yep.
did not fact check Kamala.
Willie Brown's mistress will never be president, someone commented.
Oh gosh, poor old Willie Brown. You know she also dated Montel Williams before that, don't you?
Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah, you can honestly say that Kamala knew how to sleep her way to the top.
Yeah, I've seen
And
multiple
that's
people
not
say
and
that.
that's not the role model that I want young women and girls to be looking up to. Because that's how, I'm sorry, you can't convince me otherwise that that's how she made it to the top, except by her sleeping her way to the top.
I mean, she didn't make herself look good either, because the only podcast that she was on had like a really sexually charged nature and a name to it. The Call Me Daddy podcast. That was the only podcast she went on. No one's ever heard of it before either, and the whole name of it
Oh
was
my
Call Me
gosh.
Daddy. Like, you can't tell me she's up to good stuff, because there's no way with that name of that podcast and she would go on there. No one's heard about that podcast. She could have gone on Joe
Oh,
Rogan, but she went on a no-name show that no one's ever heard of.
oh
She
my
wanted to
God.
go on Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan wouldn't agree to her terms. She was telling Joe Rogan, "Oh, let's do the podcast for 1 hour. You can't talk about certain things." And Joe Rogan was like, "No, we're not going to do a 1 hour podcast. We're just going to sit down, let it go for however long it goes." Like, normally his shows are like 3 or 4 hours long. I guess she couldn't handle a conversation for longer than an hour without having a mental breakdown or needing a drink or whatever she needs. I don't know.
I guess the moral of that story would be that Democrats can't do a whole lot unless they at least have their handlers with them. And
Yeah,
as Joe
absolutely.
Biden proved on Easter, that'll be the Easter Bunny.
Oh yeah, the thing he was doing with his Easter stuff, the trans stuff, was super weird. Like, I'm so glad that's gone. Also, people said the earpiece that Harris had in her ear was a earpiece. Like, she had an
Yeah,
earring, and they
I
said
heard
it
that
was.
too. I
Yeah,
don't doubt it.
I think it's real, to be honest, but who knows?
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it was an earpiece too. Because I'm sorry, but if I was in her shoes and going to be talking in front of everybody, I would take every effort I could to make sure that nobody could say, "Oh, he had an earpiece in" or whatever. There would not be anything questionable there. They raise these questions themselves. They create the
And
question. They
honestly,
create the doubt.
Trump destroyed Hillary, like, very, very, very well. If he would have had a few more debates with Harris, I mean, obviously she just got in like the last couple months because Biden
Yeah,
quit. He knew he wasn't going to win.
I actually heard that they were going to impeach Trump again because he beat two women. Hillary and Kamala.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, I guess right there, right from the get go, we won right there. We dodged some major bullets with them two yahoos.
I was going to say, imagine if we had both of those Yahoos like back to back. Oh my God, America would not be around anymore.
There wouldn't be nothing left. People talk about
Literally.
that's something else I got a kick out of was they talk about civil. The left has talked more about American Civil War than the right, and let me tell you something. That right there would be a battle that lasted maybe about 30 minutes and it'd be done. Do you know how many guns are in the US?
There's literally
There's
like 7 guns per person or something crazy.
it's 2.5.
Oh, two and
I'm
a
pretty
half.
sure. But still, yet that is guns they know about. That's only
Yeah.
guns they know about. I'd say that it is drastically more than that. Now, okay, so you've got all these guns in America. How many of those guns are owned by conservatives? And how many of those guns are owned by Democrats?
Democrats don't own guns, so the Civil War is done right then and there.
Yes. Yes. and I don't see their reasoning. Anybody have anything to say about that?
I know people were trying to say, I think April 19th or April something, that there was going to be a civil war or a red day where they're going to go out and kill Trump supporters or civil war with them. Trump supporters aren't worried about that. That's never going to happen. Like, I don't think I ever heard of a Trump supporter scared of a violent Harris supporter or a Democrat. Democrats don't even believe in the Second Amendment.
Yeah. Here's
And the
Joshua
Second Amendment,
Thayer.
in my opinion, has been torn down by the Democratic Party. Like, sure, we still have the Second Amendment, but you gotta look at all the obstacles in the way. Like, in some states, you need all these gun licenses, you gotta apply. In Florida, it's open carry, you can conceal carry, you don't need a license or anything like that. And also, the Second Amendment, I don't think it says anything about fully auto weaponry or anything like that.
It don't.
I mean,
They didn't have fully auto back then. The idea was to have a militia to keep the U.S. government in check. That's what it was about. You're not going to keep the U.S. government in check with muskets and bayonets. You have to have something on par with what they got, and that's what it was always about. You know, that's what protects this country more than anything. Right there is all the gun-toting Americans. By the way, Tennessee actually became a constitutional carry state. So
just like
now I
Florida.
can, yep, just like Florida. And I'm proud to say a fella I went to school with, Andrew Farmer, he became a lawyer here in Sevierville, which is Pigeon Forge. He got into it with Justin Pearson a few weeks ago. Do you know who Justin Pearson is?
I don't think so, no.
Need to look up Andy Farmer versus Justin Pearson, the Tennessee Three. Had those three Democrats. They got that one that has the golf ball hair now, Al Sharpton. He's wanting to undo the constitutional carry because I guess back in November or December, his brother committed suicide with a gun. Well,
People kill people. Guns don't kill people. But subscribe, guys. We got 300 people in here now, and you can kill
David
yourself with a knife.
David killed Goliath with a pebble.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it ain't got nothing to do with the pebble. It's got to do with who's holding the pebble. And yeah, so they got into it. I didn't realize though that my old schoolmate Andrew Farmer is the one that actually introduced the bill for constitutional carry in Tennessee. But Justin Pearson got up in the House, walked over to him, and tried instigating a fight with him. And I was actually proud of old Andrew Farmer because I grew up with him. He played football. He was actually a really tough cat. He would scrap back in the day. And let me tell you, they ain't a doubt in my mind that if they actually got into a fight, that he would knock that golf ball off of Justin Pearson's head. Ain't a doubt in my mind. But he didn't give in to it. I mean, we all know what would have happened if he had thrown hands with Justin Pearson. He'd been labeled a racist, and his fight would have been a lot harder from there on out.
Yeah.
A tyrant holds the pebble. You mean tell me that David was a tyrant? The tyrant, little old David, is a tyrant compared to big old Goliath?
Hey, it's the same thing with Trump. He's the little old pebble, and the globalists are the tyrants. I mean, they're the Goliath. The
Yeah.
globalists are the Goliath, and Trump is the David.
I think Rock Landstone is eating Play-Doh. That's my guess with comments like that.
Any Bigfoots in 10? Someone commented.
Yeah, I've not seen any Bigfoots in Tennessee. I fly a lot of drones and stuff. You can actually see that on my channel. But no, I don't believe. I think there's some unexplained stuff out there, but Bigfoot I don't believe is one of them.
Yeah, same here. I don't think so.
Well, we got too much industrial growth and residential growth. I mean, it's getting to where now bears are learning how to open these gated trash cans to get food, and they do that over foraging for berries and whatever else they eat. And our representation is Goliath. Man, you're making no sense.
Yeah,
I'm looking for
literally.
Rock Lanston. I'm gonna give you a chance here, okay? I'm looking for your who's Goliath?
Some commented bears know how to use computers now. I don't think so, buddy, but nice imagination.
Yeah. Redneck here said there's a few bears here. And yeah, there I got one video where I found a red fox with one of my drones in gosh, I can't think of the name of the park now, but it's the big Haslam Park there in Halls. But I actually found a red fox in this park. And normally they're nowhere near where humans would be. But I found a red fox.
Someone said bears are filing my taxes. Hopefully not. Otherwise, with the IRS agents that Biden hired, you might have a little bit of problems. But how many push-ups can I do? I don't know, like 40 or 50 in a row. I don't normally respond to these stupid questions, but since they want to talk a
Yeah.
little bit of shit,
Lord of
Trump is
Blondie,
the
Trump's the
man.
man. Yep. We know that. We know that. I fully support Trump. Ain't nobody gonna change my mind about it. Are they trying to change my mind? The stronger I get backing him. So don't try and change my mind. That ain't gonna help you. He's
One of
gonna have
them
what's
One
that?
of them left a good question, I think, actually. How many Democrats friends do you have? I don't know, not too many. I got more Democrat family members, probably like, let me see, probably like 5 Democrat family members. Unfortunately, nothing wrong with them. They're great people, but their political beliefs definitely don't align with me.
Well, they fixing to have their minds blown. I have an
Yeah, it's
uncle
just
that's
the
die.
start of Trump.
I have an uncle who's diehard Democrat. For some reason, a lot of people from Kentucky are Democrat. It makes no sense to me. And this is why I feel the way I do. Most of the time, when Democrats vote, they're voting for one thing, a handout. My uncle, I feel like he votes for a handout. He worked in the government, uh, and he always did better under a Democrat president. I get that. But even if I worked in the government, I would not vote for a handout. I don't need a handout. I just need everybody to get out of my way.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Someone said it is just the beginning. Yes. Shout out American legend. I've seen you in here before. Yeah, Trump is beginning. They're crying right now. They're crying their eyes out. They're already protesting. They're already online typing away like keyboard warriors crying about Trump. But they got to realize they got about 3 years and 7 months left of this Trump presidency, and there's nothing they can do about it. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Just continue crying about it or what?
Well, this is what I would say to any Democrat out there listening right now. Trump won, Kamala lost, and he's your daddy for the next 4 years. And with any luck, he'll be your daddy another 4. But even if he ain't, I see Don Jr. running. I see JD Vance staying in it. And and I like what I've seen out of JD Vance so far too. I feel like he really cares. He went and visited a lot of places that Biden looked over. Went up into Ohio where all those chemicals got spilled from that train wreck, and supposed to be trying to get something done about all that. But yeah, there's a bunch of forever chemicals that got
Yep.
into the waterways and stuff. And he went up there on live stream, and you could watch him, and you could see it.
The minute I realized that I wanted Vance probably for 2028 if Trump can't run is when he went to the Marines. I saw he was shooting his personal firearms, and also he was shooting like the big military guns. I was like, damn, you've never seen a vice president do this in the last I don't know how long, really.
Yes, Rock Landstone, we know that Biden was a traitor.
He even said out of his own mouth that he sold state secrets. You remember that?
No, I don't remember that, but I believe it.
Out of his own mouth, he said that he sold state secrets. He should have been underneath a military tribunal for treason at that moment.
Someone's criticizing Vance, said he was a journalist, never saw combat. Well, at least he was in the Marines. That's a little bit more than you probably did. That guy, whoever
Yep.
commented.
Yep. That don't bother me. Hey,
Yeah, that
journalists
doesn't
get down
bother
into
me
the
either.
thick of it. What did Biden do?
Criminal family enterprise, someone commented. Hunter
you
was
ain't
running the show.
you ain't kidding.
Someone said he was in combat zones.
Yeah, you know what? It really don't matter to me. It really don't. It won't change my feelings one bit about what I've seen so far with JD Vance.
Yeah, same here.
But
I know.
they're always going to try and attack somebody's character. And this is something else that blows my mind. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story here. You had does Trump ever lie? I'm sure he does. He's a politician. But the thing is, there ain't a doubt in my mind he's America first. And in my mind, really, all politicians are snakes. But here's where people gets it twisted. If Trump's a snake, he's our snake. He's working for us, and I'm just fine with that. If you compare moral character between what is and what was, Trump wins with a hand of spades every time. Uh, that's like when I was in the club, the organization, we had this one cat, this one guy that could walk into a meeting room while a meeting's going on and take whatever it was he wanted and walk out. We was wanting a big screen TV. He walked in there, got that big screen TV and walked out right in the middle of a meeting. I couldn't have done that. I'd have been beat up. Anybody else would have been beat up. Do we hate on that man? No. We work together. We go get that man to go get us the TV. you
Yeah, no
know?
kidding.
What y'all
Another
think
weird thing
about
people say about Vance is his eyeliner.
I don't care.
I mean,
Hey,
to be
you know
fair,
what?
I think a lot of politicians wear makeup.
Here's a good question. What do y'all think about Alberta and British Columbia wanting to join America? Overall, I think it's a good idea. That really, overall, it's a good idea. But I've been on the fence about it, and this is why I've been on the fence about Canada joining America. Is because if I had my way about it, I would honestly probably give California to Canada because we don't
Yeah.
need more. We don't need more liberals. But it's to my understanding that Alberta and British Columbia is more conservative, but and they would get a big vote. That's where they're messing up is they don't realize it, but Canada would be getting probably it wouldn't be California getting the big vote no more. It would be Canada getting the big vote. So we got to be careful there because we might be handing the country back over to liberals.
Yeah, we do got to be careful there. And I would like giving to California to over there to Canada with Gavin Newsom. He's the worst freaking. He's worse than the AOC person that might be running in 2028 for president. I don't know who the
Oh
hell would
God.
vote for Newsom, but I know a couple Democrats were messaging me about him saying, "No, he's the most honest, best man. Look at California. You can't get a McDonald's meal without it costing $40 for two people."
That blows my mind. A Democrat will vote 99% of the time vote Democrat regardless of who's behind that Democrat title. Me, I've been voting conservative, but the moment that the conservatives go down the path that the Democrats have gone, I'll change. I vote the man, not the party. And that's the way I'll always be. Just happens to be right now, the conservatives are the good guys. At one point in time, Democrats was the good guys, but that time has long since passed and gone. I mean, people say that Republicans is the house of the KKK. They get it so freaking backwards. Let me tell you what, Jim Crow was Democrat. I don't care where he switched, where he went to. Jim Crow was Democrat. My uncle, God bless his soul, is a Democrat. I love him. I do love him. But I'm also going to go out on a limb here and tell people that, and this is the truth, the first racial slurs I ever learned was from my Democrat uncle.
That's right, guys. That's right. I think that was funny that one guy joined in a Discord and started going off on the whole Democrats being modern day slave owners. Still to this day, we got 334 people in here. Hit the like and subscribe button if anyone wants to debate or just join my Discord. You're welcome to. It's the link in the bio. But yeah, that guy was really, really funny. I didn't want to step in too much because I think he's like a black Trump supporter or whatever. So it's really his fight with this whole thing. But I agree with everything he said about just like back then, they're kind of wanting modern day slavery. I mean, this guy made up this point about the agriculture when we were talking about deporting these immigrants, and he said, "Oh, the agriculture is going to crash if we deport the immigrants." I mean, only 12% of the illegal immigrants work in agriculture. First off, and 50% of them are getting paid below minimum wage, like slave wages, basically.
Well, I can speak from my area, and my area here, we've got a lot of south of the border workers working in construction, and they're working at cutthroat rates. You got people that's actually making more money just staying at home, and that's what's got to change. There's plenty of people to do these jobs here. It's just I can't go out and work for what somebody that's illegally here working. That's got to change, and I think that would change the moment that they're gone. You know, there are people here to fill them shoes, and actually better labor. Because let me tell you the difference. There's a bit, and don't get me wrong, there's exceptions to this, my belief right here. There are exceptions, but rule of thumb, generally talking, if you got an American working for you, a born here American, and you show them how to do something, they're going to do it that same way over and over and over. But then you get one of the illegals, you show them how to do something. I put up with it all the time. They'll do it the way you showed them the first few times. And slowly but surely, it'll veer off. It'll veer off from what it was you showed them. You have to go back and show them again. And then you have to go back a couple more days and show them again. You can't just show them and walk away. And that's the difference. There's a big difference in the quality.
Yeah, because a lot of them don't even speak English, or if they do speak it, they don't speak it very well, so they don't really know what the hell you're saying to them. And a lot of
Yeah.
people, in Florida, there's a lot of there's a lot of illegals that are working in farms and stuff like that. But I had someone comment in here that was from Florida. They said pickers come work on work visas. Yeah, I agree with you on that. For the most part, a lot of them do come to work in the farms on work visas and stuff like that. But you're right. We really do got to worry about them taking American jobs away. And a lot of people are having this huge debate saying, "Oh, like the bringing back of factories in America, that's never going to happen." Like nobody wants to work in factories. Like I know plenty of people that would rather work in a factory for minimum wage than work at a hot McDonald's greasy job. Not saying there's anything wrong with working at McDonald's, just some people don't like working around in fast food restaurants. They'd rather
Yeah,
work a good job at a factory or something like that, even if it's
people
the
want
same
to
pay.
turn people want to raise that minimum wage to where they can raise a family off of working at McDonald's, and they've somewhat have been a little successful with that. But where they've not been successful at is, okay, so you're having to pay this person, let's say $15 an hour to work a drive-through counter. Well, I went to Bojangles yesterday morning for breakfast, and ordered my meal. They got an AI computer program taking your order now at the drive-thru. They just eliminated another job. And I got a feeling that within the next 10 years, they're going to be it's going to eventually be a high paying job working at a McDonald's or a Bojangles or whatever. But it's going to be like one or two people working there just feeding these machines buns and chicken and beef patties. And you're going to have AI working the drive through, putting it together, spitting it out into a little box for you to pick up. There ain't going to be no human interaction. I hate that. I hate when I go into a McDonald's now, they got these kiosks that you can order from and not even deal with a person, because or even self-checkout counters. My issue with a self-checkout counter is if I'm going to check myself out, you need to give me a discount. I'm doing the work,
kidding.
but it don't work like that.
I've seen some self-checkout counters that ask for a damn tip. I'm like, what?
Oh gosh, I hope I don't ever see that. But Elon Musk and his robot. I mean, it's coming. Even in my job of driving trucks, it's coming. The only reason that AI or computers ain't replaced me yet as a truck driver is because somebody has to be accountable behind the wheel. You're not going to get the computer programmer to be liable. It's got to be a human. It's got to be a person, and they ain't going to do it like that. And then, did you know they've got bulldozers now that they set the GPS points on them, and one guy programs like the elevation of what a parking lot needs to be. Now they still have to have a human in there, but literally all they got to do in that bulldozer is go forward.
There you are.
Sorry
about that.
That's okay.
Bit phone overheating a little bit, but yeah, self-checkout for robots and with tips. That's crazy, asking for tips.
Yeah. Well, see, now you've also got like these bulldozers and stuff where you've got these GPS modules on the blades and stuff, and one guy programs it. You still have to have a human in the seat, but all they got to do is drive forward, drive backward, drive forward, and it will cut the parking lot to the level set. There's no human skill in it no more. They took the human skill out. Now, literally anybody can drive that bulldozer. They're taking the skill out of everything.
Someone said self-driving tractors. I never heard of those, but I heard that they're going to make some of the factories fully automated AI.
There actually is some ports now. I don't know which ones they are. I think there's 2 in the U.S. though. Okay, y'all have to check this out. But there's there's at least a port that is fully automated, and humans have to stay off the port grounds. There are sensors that the moment that a human touches the port grounds, everything on that ground shuts down. So
that's crazy. Someone wants to hear your opinion about immigrants and trucking. I mean, personally, I got no problem as long as they're legal immigrants, not illegals.
That's my issue. That's what I said the other day in Discord. Is I don't have an issue with immigrants working. What I have an issue with is illegal immigrants working at cutthroat rates. And then I know what they're probably talking about because we get it up here. A lot of the south of the border drivers don't drive well. They're driving as shit. And the reason that it's shit is, one, they don't speak English, so they probably can't read English. They can't read road signs, and nobody has actually ever taught them how to drive. I believe anybody can do what I'm doing with proper training. Now, I kind of have myself a niche up here where I deliver equipment. I drive a triaxle dump truck, and I pull a 24-foot float trailer off the tail end of it, and I go up into these cabin communities with it, and it's some tight places, and there's only a few people that can do what I'm doing. So I do have a skill. That would be a little tougher to teach somebody. You almost have to just have a knack for it. But overall, most most foreign drivers I've seen, their driving is poor quality. It's
I heard that Trump passed something for truck drivers. I'm not sure if this is true, but I think I saw it on the news that he said now only truck drivers that can speak English are allowed to be truck drivers.
I agree with that. I agree with that for multiple reasons. Well, it ain't just to speak it. If you can speak it, you can probably read it. There's no foreign speed signs and no foreign road signs, and you can't take and write these road signs and put road signs up for 3 different languages or even 2 different languages. You'd miss what the road sign's trying to say for trying to find the sign you can read. The
Yeah,
dumbest
for
people
sure.
I know drive the semis. What? Leviathan,
Freaking haters.
Pigeon. Man, you know what? You need to thank that driver for anything you got, whether it's a road you driving on, whether it's clothes on your back. If it's food, you thank a farmer. If it's freedom, you thank a veteran. And anything else you get, and thank a trucker. I mean, I honestly think I got one of the best jobs in the world. I drive this equipment up into the park, up into all these different places, these different cabin communities. I deliver the equipment. I usually have to wait for them. I sit and wait and for them to get done, load it up, take it to the next job. But while I'm waiting, I get to sit out and watch the mountains, watch the clouds, just breathe in, take it in.
Yeah, truck driving, traditionally it's always been a job that younger kids and people in America look up to that kind of work. And now, like, these people that don't even want to work want to talk shit. Like,
Yeah,
ridiculous.
most of them couldn't do my job. And on some days I have a hard time doing it just because it ain't driving the truck that's hard. It's watching out for everybody else that, you know, don't know what you got to do. Like, for instance, those double yellow lines don't apply to a big truck. They do, but they don't. There's sometimes to negotiate a curve, you have to go across that double yellow line. So it's important that you're doing the speed limit, not speeding, because if you come around the curve and you see a truck driver in your lane, um, he can actually be there if he's got to do that to negotiate the curve.
Yeah.
There,
Go truck drivers, somebody said. Truck driving
I
is a
appreciate that.
thankless job. Yeah, I kind of agree. They don't get enough thanks for what they do, but I appreciate it.
It is, but it is rewarding. Like I was saying, even when I was over the road trucking, there was no better feeling than like going to, I forget where it was in Indiana, but it was on the border. I think I might be wrong a little bit here because it's been a while since I've been up in that area, but it's between Kentucky and Indiana. And I found a spot on the lake, and I could pull my truck down, and I'd get up the sun when the sun came up, and I'd get to watch the sun come up on this lake. And I'm just delivering equipment. It's like a permanent vacation. You go from place to place to place, and it's a gypsy lifestyle. But if you're able to do it, it is rewarding because you get to see this great nation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best part about it. Some people are
Yeah.
saying Trump said it's okay to be poor. Does he look poor? No.
How do you measure wealth?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you looked at my bank, you'd probably say that I'm poor, but there's nothing that I want. I've got everything I need. I
Yeah,
don't have
freedom
to
and
have,
having what you want, I think, is a good way to judge a person's wealth. Freedom and having what you want. Like I was telling that guy, if we lived in a communist society, you wouldn't even be able to pick what kind of food you want to have for dinner.
yeah,
You wouldn't be able to make any kind of freedom of choice. That's why
not
America's always
much.
been so against communism, not just for economic reasons, because they don't allow simple freedom of choices.
That I got a good one for you. You know the difference in communism and socialism?
No, you can tell us.
Socialism will enslave you by your vote, but communism enslaves you by force.
Yeah, that is a great point, actually. That one guy was crazy, though, I agreed with everything he was saying before about Trump and about the Democratic Party being the slave owners. They were trying to do with the Jim Crow laws, and they were trying to bring slavery back after the Civil War and stuff like that. But what he was saying about like socialism and communism being the same thing, I mean, yeah, they're super similar, but like they're not like the same thing. I'm not gonna sit here and say they are.
No. And I get a kick out of it when they say that no, Trump and Putin's buddies or whatever. Well, they just signed a mineral agreement in Ukraine. But the thing is, Putin never invaded under Trump, but Putin invaded other countries under Obama, under Clinton, under Biden. He may have even under Bush, but he did not invade under Trump. Now, you tell me who's friends. I mean, if Trump being friends with Putin means he don't invade other places, then is Trump being friends with Putin a bad thing at that point?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why do they always say stuff like, "Oh, he's friends with the leader of North Korea. He's friends with the leader of Putin. He's like friends with the leader of Russia, Putin." Like, wouldn't you want the guy to be friends with them so he could calm down some of the conflicts going around in the world, or you want them to be enemies so the guy wants to blow up everything and kill everybody? Like, it makes
And
no
here,
sense.
and here is something that's probably going to set your chats on fire. We'll see. We'll see if it sets chats on fire. Do I like Putin? There's something I do like about Putin, and I think you'll like this too. You can argue all you want whether he's a good or a bad man, but what I don't think you can argue with about is that Putin is Russia first. That's why I
Yeah.
respect Putin. I don't respect him for the other stuff. I respect him because he puts his country first. Same reason why I respect Trump. He puts our country first.
Someone said they love Putin.
I wouldn't say I love Putin. I mean, I don't like what's going on between Ukraine and Russia, but there ain't a doubt in my mind that the Biden administration sparked that spark and lit that firecracker under that whole situation. And you're not going to
Someone
convince
said
me that. What's that?
Someone said Poland is Poland first. I agree. I don't know if you ever seen Poland's immigration policy. Sorry to interrupt you because you were just about to say
No, you're
something,
fine.
but Poland has a crazy immigration problem. These people are crying about America's like deporting people. In Poland, they have military forces on their border. If they see someone crawling over the wall, they shoot to kill them. They don't just
Yeah.
deport them; they shoot to kill them, and then they're dead, and there's nothing else they can do. They're just dead. Like they don't deport them. They're not so kind as Americans in other countries and other places when it comes to their border security.
Yeah. No, I've heard that too. And I actually agree with that. There's enough deterrence, you know. They know not to be doing it. But shoot. The forgot what I was going to say. Poland is in the EU where borders are rarely marked.
Yep, they don't give a shit about the EU though. They're going against
Yeah.
everything the EU says, and they're defending their borders with military force.
Yeah, we've got well marked borders. There's no excuse to be climbing over our border. You I don't know.
Someone said they have respect for China.
No, I respect the Chinese people. Their government, I ain't got no respect for their government.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know, they're just people too. What does every person at the end of the day want? I think we can agree that we all want a roof over our head. We want good meals, good education for our kids. I think that when it gets right down to a core person, I think that's what we all want. You know, that's where we need to all start at. And we don't need to be worrying about gay rights. That's got me ticked off. We got one fella here local, and he's gay. There's actually quite a few gays, but he's actually a good guy. You know, he doesn't push his beliefs on other people. He doesn't give anybody the creepy feeling, and he hates the LGBTQ. You know why he hates the LGBTQ?
Why?
Because they have undermined everything that him and everybody else his age has been fighting for their whole lives. They've undermined everything. People actually, they don't just hate the LGBTQ now. A lot of times people hate just the gay person. And all he wants is just to be left alone to live his life. And do I approve of his life? No. But it's his choice. I can still get along with the man. He's a great guy. Do anything for you. If you're hungry, he'd feed you. If you needed clothes, he'd clothe you. I don't approve of what he does, but that's none of my business. That's his personal choice. But
yeah, I really don't care
everything,
what I don't really care what the gay people or the LGBTQ or the trans, or I don't give a shit if you do any of that in your own personal time. Just don't be spreading it on kids' cartoons. Don't be spreading it to minors. Anyone that's a kid under 18,
yeah,
you don't got to be making these little kids doing transgender surgeries. Like that shit, that's fucked up. You should be going to prison if you're trying to make someone's kid do that, or it's really just messed up. Or even your own kid, if you're trying to make them do that, you should be going to
yeah,
prison for that. That's a controversial opinion, but if you're trying to cut off your kid's natural born genitals, then you should probably go to prison.
yes, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, to me, teaching, as long as you understand the curriculum, teaching to me is an easy job. You follow the pre-approved curriculum. You don't deviate from that. You don't bring in your own personal beliefs. And you definitely don't take down the American flag and replace it with a pride flag. And I hate that too, because they've took something that God gave everybody, the rainbow, and made it their own.
Yeah.
You know?
Why the hell did they need their own flag? They didn't go to war for that flag. They didn't kill nobody for that flag.
Yeah.
I
That's
feel
why I
like
said
that
in
must
that
have been
one
created
video.
by some rich globalist guy that's just trying to push an agenda. Some billionaire globalist Democrat that just wants to push agendas.
Yeah, because my pride flag's the American flag, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that.
The,
Charlie, I remember what I was going to say a minute ago. It was real important to me. Was do you ever watch Turning Point USA with Charlie Kirk?
yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, he made a point. He made a point the other day that I really liked. It was a great point. Someone was complaining about America, how they didn't like America, and that it was one of the worst countries in the world. And he says, "Well, move.
Yeah.
What other country do you think's better? Go to it." Well, I don't want to do that. Then Charlie Kirk says, and that's how you know you live in one of the greatest countries in the world, because even people that doesn't like the country still won't leave the country.
Yeah, all these people are crying and saying Trump's a dictator, he's Adolf Hitler, he's Mussolini. If I really believed that, I would leave the country and never, ever, ever step foot back again. I mean, they
Yep.
must really not believe what they're saying, or they're just not using their head, or they're too scared to leave, or something. I don't know what their issue is.
Yeah, I don't know either. I wish more of them would be like Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, I have respect for her. As at least she actually did what she said she was gonna do.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. You're absolutely right.
Like, I don't believe any of her beliefs, but she has the balls to actually do what she's gonna say she was gonna do. I heard a funny
I
joke on
did.
Twitter though. Someone said Ireland has deported Rosie O'Donnell. They don't want her. She's not welcomed.
I heard one better than that. Ireland's going to enact 125% tariffs on the U.S. until we take Rosie O'Donnell back.
I saw that too. That's really funny. That was really. Someone said you can drive to Canada or Mexico. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I
Literally,
mean,
you don't even.
you can, but you better have your P's and Q's when you do. I actually got stuck in Canada one time. Getting into Canada wasn't no big deal. It was coming back into Canada. I was delivering steel aluminum. Actually, it was aluminum to ThyssenKrupp up in Windsor. And coming out, I had to pick up a cigarette manufacturing machine for Philip Morris. And because that equipment was not destined for America, but Mexico, and my paperwork was not right, I got held in the Detroit Homeland Security Detention Center for like 72 hours. And I ain't got a
Oof.
problem with that. But what I had a problem with is they x-rayed my truck 3 times. The third time, they didn't even give me time to get out of my truck. So I was x-rayed in my truck. And I'd love to have seen that picture. That'd have been cool. Some kind of skeleton getting out of my truck. But they there was nothing to eat. At that point in time, I was a man without a country. I couldn't go back to Canada. They wouldn't let me go into the US. I had money, but the problem was there was no ATMs there at that little facility. They had a vending machine, but I run out of quarters really fast. They finally did let me go back to Canada till it got worked out, but yeah, it was no joke. I got stuck up there. I was upset, but it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, I had similar situations with Homeland Security. You could say I'll get into that story in a second if you're interested. But someone said I bought a house for my mother and father here in Naples, Florida. I just wanted to bring that up because I'm from kind of near there. And they said, what else did they say? So they could be closer to my wife and I. My father relies on my money. Take care, Joshua. Well, shout out Titan Brew. Flush your toilets, Canada. Someone said. I agree. When I went there in December actually of last year, and all the toilets and everything, it was just a garbage mess. I mean, I don't know if it's because like I didn't see too many Canadians. I mostly saw Indian people, to be honest with you. So maybe that was the problem. I'm not trying to say anything racist. Indian people are great, but the bathrooms were not clean at all in any way, shape, or form.
You know, just a good FYI. Did you ever, when Columbus came and actually named the Native Americans Indians, people, I don't know if this is actually factual or not, but I believed it. Okay. So y'all can fact check me out there. But supposedly when Columbus came here and named the Indians Indians, it wasn't because he thought he was in India, because India didn't exist at that time. It was called Hindustan. So that's a big misconception. People think that the Indians are named after India. I'd like to actually know the truth on that. I'm gonna look that up later just so I factually know, but I believe it. I believe that India was probably called Hindustan.
Someone said the Vikings got there first. Where, in America? I never heard any stories about the Vikings coming to America.
Actually, Vikings did come to America, but they didn't come in large numbers. The Vikings traveled the globe by, if I'm not mistaken, they're actually some of the ones that pioneered using the sextant and navigating by the stars. But they also integrated with the Native American people, and that's actually some of my heritage. Is I've actually got Irish and Native American, but my Native American, I did that. I forget what it's called, where they check your DNA or whatever.
21 and Me or something.
Yeah, and it came back that I had. Oh gosh, now I'm forgetting my
Leif
own past.
Erikson, someone said.
Yeah, that. Well, see that my actually that's who I was named after, Erickson, is because my lineage was like Norwegian, and my dad even as far back because that was where, but the not the genealogy, but the DNA test actually proved my dad right that it went that it went that way. It was Native American with the Viking DNA. I forget what it was actually called. I'll find it at the house, or it'll pop in my head when I get off this live stream. But yeah, so they did.
Leif
They
Erikson,
did.
the 11th century, they said. The 11th century they came to America, Leif Erikson.
They did, and but they also integrated with the Indians. They became part of the same culture. Um,
This guy said a
I,
really funny comment. It's a bit racist. I don't know if you see what Greg said about he found about his black lineage when he got his results back from the credit agency. He said that, not me, guys. I'm just reading it.
it don't bother me. It don't bother me a bit. Yeah,
I'm just
I'm
saying for
probably.
anyone else out there that's gonna lose their shit. Say, of course, the Trump supporters are racist. Someone already said the hat represents the Nazi symbol.
Yeah, you're gonna have a hard time convincing me of that one. Gonna have a real hard time of that. Daggone Biden come close to Nazism, then it's like they
Oh,
went
there we
so
go
far
again.
left. They
Red
went.
hot. Red hat is the swastika. I went like this when they said I picked my nose. I don't think my finger entered my nose by going like that, but okay. And so what if I
Yeah.
did? So what if I
Hey,
did?
if somebody out there ain't picked their nose at some point in time, there's something wrong.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
working? If you ever even just walk into a wood shop, I can promise you, you're gonna be picking your nose. If you're sitting at the dinner table with Zelensky, you're probably gonna be picking your nose.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm talking about there, don't you?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
swear
yeah.
I swear I do. I do think he's a coke addict.
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
do
many
too.
of them addicted to speed and stuff, and he fits the bill.
Yeah, he always has he has these racing eyes, and I've seen these things of him sweating.
Yeah, yeah, they really ain't a doubt. I ain't got no proof, but if I'm gonna call a spade from seeing a spade, yeah, nose picking rednecks. Yeah, it don't bother me. Actually, I don't know if I can do this or not. But this is how I do it. Pull my lips out and I go like that right there.
Someone commented that's what the Democrats can do with insults, or something like that. The best the Democrats can come up with.
Yeah, they're not. That's like everybody talks about the meme war. There was, in my opinion, there was a meme war, and Democrats lost that because they can't make a meme to save their life.
Oh, really? They can't. They really can't. I
No,
haven't seen too many funny memes making fun of Trump.
no. The only ones they got, the only funny ones they have is the ones where, like for instance, I saw one where it had, when America falls, Biden's going to go to China, and it had Joe Biden,
Okay, that's
like in
pretty funny.
Chinese, and then they did a Trump version after that.
Oh, they
They
said I'm
can't
in a
come.
cult. I'm a Trump cult member. Oh, I don't know. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
You disappeared
Yeah,
for a
they don't know
second. You're
what a
back.
cult is either. You get a free haircut in a cult. You don't look like your hair's been cut. I mean, heck, Joe Biden sniffed kids on live TV. I mean, if you don't acknowledge that, you're in a cult.
Yeah, they kind of refused to believe that. It wasn't just a one-time thing. It was pretty much, monthly or every couple of days or every couple of
Man,
weeks.
he'd run his nose through a kid's scalp like daggone Hunter running his nose through Peruvian marching powder.
uh, couldn't be any truer.
Ah, hell.
I leave
This
my hat
cult,
with the Trump hat all. I leave my house with the Trump hat all the time.
man, I'm going to get me one of them hats today. You mark my word. Next time, I hope we do this again, because next time we do this, I'm going to have me a Trump hat.
We will both be wearing them. The comments will get even more pissed off about them. We'll get a million zillion more people crying about it.
Oh, I'm going to have to go here in a second. I'm looking,
Cool,
Booger
cool. I
Sugar.
was
I'm
gonna
looking
say
in
I
the
have to wrap
comment.
this up too. Yeah, the
Yeah, has
comments are fun.
anybody out there got any real good insults for me?
Booger sugar.
Now, I've heard of Sugar Booger. I call my old lady Sugar Booger every now and again. Come
The
on,
same
I'm giving
guys
some.
talking shit about truckers. This guy's been in the comment section for the last hour and 40-something minutes watching us, just commenting shit. It is a little bit pathetic to be in someone's live for like that long. You're not even talking in the conversation. You're just fucking commenting like, fuck you, Trump supporter, fuck you. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely ain't got no life. I tell you what, I would like to see, man, is have you ever seen that Johnny Palmadessa?
Sounds familiar, but I
Look him
can't
up.
think.
He's probably your age, and I caught him using old facts for one. But he likes to educate people who voted for Trump on how their vote was just so poor and bad. I'm not going to try and convince anybody their vote was poor or bad. You get a vote; it's your American right. But I would love to see you debate him because you're really good with your facts. You're really good with fact checking, and he was on a bus. He don't respond to anything either. Like he don't respond to anything hardly in
He's
the chats
scared.
that's going on. And it's, for instance, he likes to talk what Trump policies has Trump enacted that's been positive for the border. Well, I have yet for him to respond to this one, but it comes to my attention, there's never needed to be any policies created. There's already laws in place for the border. It just took a president with a backbone to enforce them.
Yep. And I brought up this fact in my recent border debate. There was about 1,500 to 2,000 border crossing every single day, and now we're down to a couple hundred to 500 a day maximum. So that's nearly 1/3 of the border crossings that we had under Biden's administration, and it's lowering
I'd
every single
say
day.
I have a hard time believing it was that few under him. I remember
Yeah, it was
seeing
probably a lot more. We really don't know. There's so many that came in, it's hard to say.
yeah, how do you document somebody who actually snuck across the border? If they was actually successful in sneaking across the border, you're never going to know about it.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, another point on deportations that I saw that makes a lot of sense to me. Democrats, they want to take all your guns. I saw an article that a Democrat did that if taking everybody's guns saves just one life, it makes it all worth it, right? Well,
Yeah.
you can counter that. You can counter that thought with this right here. If deporting all the illegals saves just one life, does it not make it worth it?
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna save a lot more lives deporting the illegals than we would getting rid of these guns.
Yeah, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to have to hop off here,
All
get
right,
back to the
we'll
house.
wrap it up then. Everyone,
Man,
smash the like and subscribe button. Go check out his channel. You want to say it one last time before we end this?
Tom Pepin TV.
Yep. All right.
And Graham, I appreciate you taking time to chat with me. I've really enjoyed enjoyed this morning. And I look forward to doing it again in the future. And I'm going to be watching your live streams, and I got you back.
Thank you, man. Much
So
appreciated. Have a good rest of your day. Peace out.
you too.
Bye.